So I hate ads, and I hate you're pressing something and you've just paid for something you didn't realise you were going to do.
This is the second episode of Pillars of Powers, and this is going to be a journey that we would like to take to understand a lot about business, mindset, and how to the result of everything is going to be in financial terms as well. So, guys, today we have Miles with us, and he is a tradie and a builder, business consultant, and business developer. Yes.
Well, business, I don't like using the word coach, but
yeah,
I suppose that's what I'll be looked at, a coach or a mentor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really an honor to have you here. And we had the first episode, and that was more about sales. And the second episode, we have the best. And tell us more about yourself.
Where would you like me to start?
Start from 25 years ago when you started this business.
Okay, so about 23 years ago, I started a group training program for trades, and there was me and literally two competitors at that stage in the market. Now, one of the things that I had up my sleeve is that previous to that, a decade before that, I'd had project management experience where I'd actually go and actually do or complete the building of a new supermarket or refurbish a supermarket. So I'd had a lot of experience with project management and in fit outs and those types of things. So that gave me a good understanding of working with trades. And the reason why I started this 23 years ago is that the other jobs that I'd had previously, I kept on getting asked to leave or to resign. And that normally happens when you actually do what you believe is right for the business and you don't actually fall into the yes sir, no sir club, which I would never want to be in that. And it's good because when you get walked out of your last job and you can either go home or go to the pub and drink and feel sorry for yourself, or you can actually do something about it. And the last time that happened, about 23 years ago, I went home, and I've got a bookshelf at home like most of us do. You've probably got e-books, but I actually had proper books. And I picked up one of the books, which was Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Pretty good book. And in the back there was a website for a place in Australia that actually promoted property developers and business people. And I went to that website. It was a bit clunky then, but I had a look, and then I phoned the person up with phone number on the website. And this guy, now I look back at it, he must have been rubbing his hands together, because I said, look, I've left my job, I've got a bit of money and I want to do something. Should I do this property course that's on your website, or should I do Robert Kiyosaki's course? So it was a sale either way when I look back at it. But he said, look, what's your goal? I said, well, my goal is to build a really big business. He said, will you do Robert Kiyosaki's course? So that was $7,500 20 years ago. It was a fair bit. But I did that. So I was up in the Gold Coast for 3.5 days. On the first day of the Robert's seminar, I was sitting in the front row, which seems to be a bit of a habit. Anyway, he gave out his rules for the next few days, and he explained how he's the government and spoke about having your phones off and different things. And then towards lunchtime, he said, look, in about 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to go to lunch. So when you get up, you'll go out the door and you'll turn left and you'll see a large room, and there'll be tables there, and there'll be a pole on each table. Well, not on each table, there'll be Robert Kiyosaki, Kim Kiyosaki, Dolph DeRuth, his different presenters. There'll be some tables without poles on them because we don't have that many presenters. It's up to you where you sit. Then he went back to talking about his book and different things. I actually got up, I got my bag, and I walked out to the corridor. This is 10 minutes before he had said that lunch is going to start. I walked towards that room, and there's some giant doors, and there's a lady there. She said, oh, the lunch is not open yet. I said, I'm a friend of Robert Kiyosaki's. She said, oh, come in, come in. She opened the door. She said, his table's over there. Do you want me to get you something? I said, sparkling mineral water, please. So there's nobody in the room. There's like seating for 400 people. Anyway, and about 8 or 9 minutes later, people are coming through. They're putting jackets on chairs and scarves on chairs, and they're going over the Bay Marine and they're getting food. I don't have any food in front of me because there was no food when I went in there, and I wasn't there for the food. Then Robert casually walks in. He sits right beside me. And then people are taking somebody's jacket off and putting their own jacket on. He said, watch what's about to happen. He said, by the way, I'm Robert. I said, I'm Miles. He said, pleased to meet you. And over the next 10 minutes, people were squabbling over seats and there's food falling off. And Robert said, all right, well, look, I'm here now. There's the opportunity to ask me some questions. There was somebody directly in front of me and he was about to ask Robert a question. He's putting food in his mouth. He said, I'm not going to talk to you. You're rude. And then he said, by the way, I'm going to start with Miles. He was here first. He doesn't have any food in front of me. He wants to feed his mind and his heart, not his belly. Those of you that are here to get your food, you're very short-term focused. Good. Anyway, I got a notepad out of my pocket with some questions on. And a couple of the guys laughed. And he said, why are you laughing? You've just paid X amount of money for these 3.5 days. He's prepared. You're not. Anyway, I went through some questions and he said, he got my notepad and he wrote down one of his advisors and he said, I want you to contact this person. She'll be outside later on tomorrow. And tell her he said, just make her look at the handwriting. She'll know it's me. Anyway, he gave me a couple of contacts. And then later on that day, there was a guy talking about financial strategies. And then he'd hopped down off the stage, it was towards lunch, and I actually walked towards him, probably a little bit too forceful, not forceful is the right word, but he sort of put his hands up like this jokingly, saying, what do you want? I said, I'd like to pay for you for some time so you can actually tell me what you believe I should do next. And he said, okay, we'll be in touch. And then on the third day of the seminar, we would all go out to morning tea and there would be these big booths with like 18 seats. I didn't know anybody. I'd remembered a couple of faces, but I sat in one of the booths and people are going around saying, what do you do, what do you do, what do you do? And it came around to me and said, what do you do? I said, well, I turn around underperforming businesses. Okay, so like how big? I said, what do you mean size, people, turnover? Like get a bit clearer on what you're asking. Well, turnover, I said, 800,000 to 1.2 million. And one guy said, I turned over 3 million last year. I said, no, I'm talking about in a week. And he went, all right. So then they started around the table. They said, well, how much do you charge? And I was just keeping quiet. And somebody said like 700, 1,200. One guy said 20. I was actually waiting for it to get to a certain price. I hadn't actually done consulting before. But the best thing to do in this environment is to listen. So it got to 2,200. This is 20 years ago. I said, that's it.
A lot of money, yeah.
And then they said, is that for a day? And one guy said, I bet it's half a day. I said, that's it. So that's how that started. And then when I went home after that seminar, I was actually driving along a road and I saw a residential project. And then I stopped and I pulled over and I phoned up a couple of my mates who are plumbers and carpenters. And I said, how do you project what you're going to do over the next 12 months financially? I said, what? Or do you know your numbers, like your gross profit, your margin or whatever? No, I just put this on top. And I know they were doing okay, but they could have been doing better. And I wasn't aware of all the different associations 23 years ago, so I went and had a look on the Australian Bureau of Stats and had a look at how many plumbers there are, how many electricians, and then jumping forward a couple of weeks later, I met with that person at the event and I paid him $500 for an hour, and that's fine. And I had a chat with him, and then he spoke about, making sure you've got a good niche, and I'd already worked that out. So then I thought, well, the thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that my brand is better than anybody else's. So again, I invested $17,000 then into a couple of guys to help me with my brand. Now these blokes had worked for a company called Saatchi & Saatchi, which 20 years ago was the biggest advertising company globally. They weren't working for them then, but they came up with some great concepts. And that's how that all started. Now, I started doing group coaching for trades and builders. Now, 3.5 years ago, I stopped and sort of thought, am I doing what I would like to be doing now, or do I need to do something different? Every man and his dog and lady and cat are a coach now, and some are good and some are not good. And a lot of people are doing group programs, and they're all pretty much saying the same thing. So I thought, well, I'm going to stop doing that. And I thought, how can I do something better that's less expensive and it's going to be more accessible for people? And I was just talking to a few friends about brainstorming and different things, because while you can get good ideas yourself, it's good to talk to people that are going to be ruthless with you and they're going to actually tell you ideas. And so we came up with the name Goat Tradies, the greatest of all time. So then there's 12 chapters in the Goat Tradie book, and that's one part of the Goat brand. Then we started building the app 3.5 years ago, and there's been 34 people working on the app. So the goal with the app is there's 4 stages inside the app. So if you download it, and you can see there's a category for apprentices, for trades, for builders, not for builders, for business owners and large business owners. Yeah. So you click on the one that's appropriate to you, and it'll actually show you the resources available for you. Now, if you just say you're a plumber and you've been in business a couple of years, and you think, okay, it's time for me to actually do something better. I need to get more clarity. I need to actually understand my financials better. You might pay a business coach $3,000 a month. That'll be pretty normal. So the goal with the app is for you to be able to get better resources at 1% of the price. And the goal is to be able to make this available. At the moment, we're dealing with English-speaking countries, because for us to go to other countries is going to be another challenge for us to actually write everything, but that will come a little bit later. So we've got a few younger people that have actually used the app, and the questions I ask them is, can you navigate it easily? Yes. Has it helped you understand the financials and your profile, which I'll explain in a minute? They said, absolutely. And is there anything you don't like? And the only thing that we've found that they don't like is when you go inside the app, there's a lot of different features. And you would know, like when you download something off the app or the Google Play Store, you click and you think, I just paid $20, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So this doesn't do that, because I hate that. So I hate ads, and I hate you're pressing something and you've just paid for something you didn't realize you were going to do. So with this, there's a video above each feature inside. It'll tell you what it's about, how much it is, and you can either watch the video and listen, or you can actually read what it's about. So their only complaint was the video is too loud. I thought you could turn the sound out, but anyway. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Amazing. Perfect. I think because, I'm from a family of construction. So my father was in construction, and when I was at the age of 14 in a country like Afghanistan, I was in construction, I was a bad boy. So instead of me, breaking other people's glasses and things like that, my father is like, hey, join me. He didn't actually say join me, he just took me to work.
Okay.
And I was working in, very hard condition. Back in my country, there is not all of these facilities to carry the sand to the 4th floor and 5th floor.
Yeah.
So what the tracks come, they just unload it, and it was my job to take them bag by bag to the 4th and 5th floor.
Yeah.
One of the things that gave me was the resilience. The other thing is, you see, it's very difficult to carry them, slowly, but it built on my resilience and patience, and to see that, slowly things are happening. So from that construction, I've always been used to hard work. And the other day with one of my teammates, we were discussing, he said that, do you know what your issue is? I said, what? He said, you always choose the long distance. You go the hard way. As a tradie that I have started this, in Australia, totally different, things are different. So a lot of tradies are working very hard, and it's very difficult for them to think and work at the same time. So I believe what you're doing is very valuable. The first evening that we were sitting and having dinner, the moment I showed you my website, after a few minutes you came back to me and was like, You say that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's very rare to get someone who is very efficient and tells you directly what's wrong, right? You get all these people, wow, you're doing a nice job, go ahead, do this. That's good, but you need someone to point out where the issues are, especially with tradies. They are the hardest worker in this country, right? But then, like I said, it's very difficult to think right when you're sweating and grinding and working hard, getting up so early, exhausted, the number of quotes you have to send. It's like being everyone all at once, right? You have to be customer service, you have to be talking to people and all of that. So it's really valuable what you're doing in here.
When you talk about them working hard, so there's actually a feature inside the app called a better weekly structure. So whether you just start your trades business and you're in your first year, or whether you've been in business for a few years and you might have a couple of people working with you, I find a lot of people, even when they start off incorrectly. They start off, so you go from being working for somebody else, and you might be working 40 hours a week, for example. Then they start their own business, and what happens is they work for 40 hours, but then they go and put 15 or 20 on top of that because of the quoting, the invoicing, the social media. So they've literally just gone from, straight away, they've gone to a 60-hour week work week. When what we suggest to them is, you get the weekly structure app inside the Go Tradie app, and it'll actually help you design your personal life first. So like you might want to go to sports, a sports event once a week, you might want to go to the gym, and family time and those type of things. So it's actually about designing a life that's actually going to serve you first. Then you put your business schedule around that, and when I say business schedule, so I'm talking about time for marketing, time for your financials, time for your office, time for meeting with clients. And then you would find you've probably got about 18 hours left to work on the tools. So that would then mean this will actually come up with a prompt. It'll actually tell you need to hire somebody else.
Yeah.
Why? We're not in business to actually drive ourselves into the ground. We're actually there to make our lives easier and actually give jobs to other people.
So if you see like a normal tradie like us, right? You know, we started this home renovation and flooring company. Before we start, what are the 3 advices you could give us?
Before you start?
Yes.
So before you start your own business?
Yes.
Well, the first one is you've got to sort yourself out financially, and what I mean by that is you've got to have at least a forecast for the first 12 months. So you've got to think about, and if you can't do it, well, yeah, you could either use something inside the app, or you could go to a bookkeeper or get somebody to help you. So you need to have a forecast, and to me that needs to be, you need to print that out, put that on a decent A3 page, because if it's on your computer, you don't see it every day. So that's the first thing, have your forecast, and that'll actually show you how much money you need to have put aside before you start your business. That way, a lot of stress comes from money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the first one is the financial side. The second one is be really clear on actually what you're going to do different. And it's a little bit hard when you start because you're actually taking work from anybody at the start. But over time, you need to actually work out what your point of difference is, because there's so many businesses they're just the same as everybody else. And you talk to some people and you say, what's your point of difference? And they say, I give great customer service. I say, so you should. That's no different to anybody else.
Yeah.
We call you back on time. Really? So you should. I'm asking you, how are you different? So I'm talking about like a guarantee, like we will return your call in under 90 seconds. You know, how can I do that? I said, look, it doesn't have to be that, but I'm making an example. Like there's got to be something that people are going to remember. They're going to go, what?
Yeah.
So that's the second thing. So get your point of difference right. And then the other thing is work out how you're going to put yourself out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
So most people go into business, as I said, they work hard and they just keep on taking on more tasks and more responsibilities. So not the job entirely, but bit by bit. So when you start up your business, you'll be doing the So some social media, some admin, some bookwork, invoicing, that type of thing. So think about a line of succession, and there's all these tasks on a line of succession. And think about your ideal working week is up here.
Yeah.
You're doing what you love, and what you love and what I love might be different. But whatever you enjoy is up here. And then down here is the thing that you're not good at and you don't like doing. And then the next and the next and the next. And as you get more work and get more cash flow coming in, you give that away to somebody. So I was talking to a client of mine today, and she's ready to put on an office person. She said, I can't afford a full-time office person. I said, well, don't put on a full-time office person. Put on a permanent part-time person.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, actually. I said, and you probably don't need a full-time office person down the track. I said, you've already got an assistant helping you. You probably only need somebody 20 hours a week at the moment. So stop thinking normally. So it's, number one is the financials. Number two is the point of difference. And number three is actually work out how you're going to put yourself out of a job.
It's like delegating tasks to other people.
It is, but you want to make sure that you give away the right roles to the right people.
Yes.
In the right order.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, I've delegated this, but okay, did you communicate how you wanted it done? Because a lot of people just shove it to somebody and they complain it wasn't done properly.
Yeah. So currently we have around 9 staff, but this one I noticed that, they're different mindset. For one of them, you just draw the picture, they'll take care of everything, they do it. But then there's another personality which you have to tell them exactly what you want, and that's how they perform the best. It's like understanding how every one of them perform and knowing them, and like you just said, that giving them the right task, knowing that this guy is better than me in doing it. Because there's obviously different set of skills that everyone is good at, right? So it's really important that to understand, all right, this client, this employee is really good at purchasing and bargaining and negotiating. Then this person is very good at videography. That's really important. But it's still a lot of, how is this even, in a way, applicable to a tradie who is just coming up? This requires a lot of experience, a lot of resources.
So you're talking about how they communicate, is that what you mean?
How they communicate and how they can come to this point to be eligible to do all these three. Because this requires a lot of resources, like you said. It requires a lot of money to hire someone else. But at what stage they need to know that they're ready to do this?
So they're ready to actually start or ready to grow?
They're ready to grow for the next stage.
So to me, the first thing is that you've got to know inside you that that's really important to you. Because some people just decide to grow a business because everybody else is growing a business. Or they think, oh, I would like to have 20 people on. Or it's, what's the end goal for you, first of all? Like, what's going to make you happy? To me, that's the most important thing. Because a lot of people get to a business that's a certain size and they're not happy. So it doesn't matter what business we're in. It's really important that you do what makes you happy and you feel fulfilled. So that's the first thing.
Let me tell you a secret. Okay?
It won't be a secret if you tell me.
No, it's all right. It's not a secret anymore. Do you know, I told you about my childhood, right? I was a child laborer, working really hard in construction.
Yeah.
And to this day, one of the things that I don't like personally is construction.
Is what?
Construction.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I know that this is one of my skills.
Yes.
Thanks to my father and how he put me on, working hard.
Yes.
And, firsthand, like I do a lot of tiling, brickwork and all of that. This is one of my skills. But I came to this realization that being happy or not happy, for me personally, is not as important as getting the job done. So I came here, I started doing production first, then I noticed it doesn't make money.
Yep.
So I just turned back to my skills and I remembered my father teaching me all of these things, and I started doing it, and so far we have had around $600,000 in the account and around $160,000 in the pipeline in about 8 months. So we are doing something good in the industry. We are very small, but we are growing very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I'm not happy doing construction, but that's what I'm good at. What's your take on this?
Well, that's good that you've been able to do that and get into that financial spot, but you can always do things which you might have a skill at, but you might not enjoy. But when you get to the point where you're 95 and you're sitting in the chair and you look back at the last few decades, have you actually done what felt good for you? Because there's a lot of different ways to make money. And to me, the easiest way to make money is to do something that there's a combination of, I believe if you're happy doing something, you'll actually work out how to do it well. It won't turn into a job, or it won't feel like you're working.
What's your take on different personalities, right? Like some of them are really good at working under stress. So for example, I don't like it, but I do it still for the goals that I have. But then another person who is happy to do it. You think who is going to go farther?
So there's people that say they're good working under pressure. And I said this to somebody earlier today. And so when you work under pressure, you've only got a certain amount of time to do something. So the alternative is that you prepare yourself earlier and get the majority of the work done before, and then that would enable you to have a bit more freedom. And the other thing also is if you're working under pressure and you're relying on other people and that person lets you down, you might not get the outcome that you're after on time. So I realise working under pressure has to happen sometimes, but I believe it shouldn't be something that it becomes your normal routine.
Yeah. For me, I like to invite them voluntarily. For example, if I have a few tasks to do, this is one of the other things that we went through some analyzing where we have done a lot of things wrong.
Yep.
And based on me and my friend Hitch, we found out that there's 22 issues, 22 weaknesses. Number one was me saying yes a lot to the clients. Why? Because it's just...
Because you're a nice guy and you want to make sure that everybody's happy.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not good in business all the time.
That's not good in business, yeah.
You can make sure that the client in construction is happy, but when they ask for extra things, you've got to get a variation done and get them to sign it off.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm working on it. But initially it's very difficult to say no, right?
No.
Like the whole point of, I think this one I recently come across, definition of a strategy. A strategy is just, a fancy word a lot of people are trying to throw out there and use it.
Yep.
But a strategy is just knowing what to do, what not to do. It's like prioritizing, but you shouldn't have a lot of priorities. Because if you do priorities as popular and then you have so many to do, priority, that's a strategy. What's your take on that?
Well, it's a bit hard because I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but to me it's, you can't have 24 things that are a priority because then it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's like somebody saying they specialise in everything. You can't specialise in everything.
Yeah.
So it's about actually, if there's a lot of things that come up that are important that need to be done, sometimes you actually just need to walk away, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. Go for a walk outside, just get some fresh air, clear your head, come back, and most times you'll find that you tend to look at things a little bit better because you've got a bit more clarity.
Yeah.
And then can you give some of these things to other people and get them to do it? What do you need to do? And also turn off some of the apps that you're wasting time on.
The scrolling is useless.
TikTok is good and bad.
It's just like everything, right? It can be a gift, it can be a curse.
Yes.
It depends how you can train your algorithm the right way. So when you see all of the explore page, if you click on bodybuilding is going to keep on showing you bodybuilding. But it's crazy how sometimes it's just showing you, unnecessary things. Maybe it's just doing some experiments and we don't know.
I think that at the end of each year, do you look at the year that's just gone and think about how can you do next year better?
Absolutely. I do that at the end of every week. So I analyze my week and I know that a lot of the time has been wasted and how can I get to the next stage. And I'll be surprised that 1 hour of silence gives so much data to us, because that time is reflection, right? You're going to be sad trying to go through all the hours that you have wasted, or you go through your iPhone to see your screen time. That shows 2 hours of TikTok. Absolutely. So I have a question. This is very important for our business, and I'm really grateful that you have accepted to be here. How can we get and break this 1 million turnover in a year? And how can we get to, what's the next?
How can you get what in a year, sorry?
More than $1 million turnover in a year.
In what type of business?
Home renovation and flooring.
So that would depend on the size of the projects you do, for one thing. Look, all trades businesses that are running well can make good money. It's the ones that are inefficient and they don't manage their time or the team's time well. That's where their revenue takes a bit of hit, and their revenue would take a bit of a hit with not managing the team's travel time. And another thing also, which this might sound weird, but another thing that can affect the revenue is when you're too nice to the customer. So what I mean is, like, if I go to your house and you've got a leaking pipe under your sink, and I come and fix that. Okay, you're 87. You're home alone. Your partner's passed away. You're home alone. You've got your cat. But you don't see people often. You probably want to have a cup of tea with me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And we do need to be nice to the people that we're working with, the clients and everything. But if you have a cup of tea with every person that wants to have a cup of tea with you, and your team do that as well, and I did this exercise with somebody a few weeks ago, because this is actually what was happening. On paper, they've lost about $180,000. They've got a big team.
Yeah.
So it's not always about just getting more work. It's about actually still be nice to the clients, but hey, thank you, I've got to go, I've got my next job to go to. So be more efficient. Be more efficient when you're with the clients. Be more efficient with the travel time as much as you can. Make sure that the vehicles are laid out well so that you can access everything you need. And things like have a minimum maximum, so like a plumber or electrician would have high use items in the side of the back of their van, so making sure that they're stocked well. And things like, and most people have got pretty good invoice systems now, but making sure click, bang, gong, payment straight away. So I don't understand why a lot of small trades, they'll be posting in a group, oh, this customer owes me money. I'm thinking, it was only a small amount. You should have said when you walked in, it's probably going to be this much. I need payment when I go.
Yeah.
And just have the machine with you.
Yeah.
Because then you have to go back in and actually follow up, and it's annoying and frustrating. you get home, you're with your partner, and then what's wrong? Oh, I've got 27 people that owe me $252, and so it's about, to me, you can have your goal and you can chase the work and you get the work, but if you're not doing things efficiently, you're going to hit a brick wall.
So I've noticed that because before this I was a salesman, and I noticed that a lot of the quotations that everyone else they just go, they say that okay, by the end of the day I'm going to send you the quotation. But my method was different. I had one of the machines with me in my pocket ready.
Yeah.
So the moment they say, okay, this looks good, here, 50% deposit. Ding, done.
Yeah.
Although if we can refund it if they want to change their minds, but it's always about there is something that they say the moment they say they're going to buy, say no more.
Yes.
Get the payment.
Yeah.
That's enough, because the next word you're going to guesswork might just piss them off.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to know when to stop selling.
Yes, absolutely. In one of my challenges, I went in Mango National Park, and it was before all the other challenges. And there I wanted to do a 100-kilometer run while carrying a weighted vest. I failed miserably because it was one of the hottest season of the year, and one of the locals pulled over and said, "Hey mate, you're gonna kill yourself," because it's too hot.
Yeah.
On the way back, a lot of other things happened. My car broke down. Then I just came across this very nice man who is a hunter. Wally, shout out to Mr. Wally. He's one of my mentors. Then from there, he explained so much about hunting, right? And he was like, if you want to hunt deer, you got to know their mating season. You got to know their behavior. You have to know how they, where they poop and other things, and how their poop smells, the temperature, all of that. It's a little bit different, but at the end of 3 hours conversation, I just turned to Wally, Mr. Wally, and I said that this is so much close to business. In business, you have to know your customers, right?
Yes.
And especially in construction. All right, you want to go get it done here, you have to know that how you present yourself, how you talk to them, how you get the sales, how to calm them down, because a lot of things break down in construction. You cannot guarantee 100% a smooth project delivery, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's okay, that's very nice. We have to be even more efficient, I think, because there's so many steps to this being more efficient, right?
Well, it's whether it's with your team or whether it's with your clients, you've got to have standards, and this is the way that we do business. You can still be nice,
Yeah.
but you've got to let them know your standards are like your rules. You can't break your rules.
Yeah.
And I meet a lot of business owners that are really nice people, and they get taken for a ride, and they might lose money, get owed money, or a variety of things. But as I said, like when you go into a plumber or electrician goes into a client's house, they'll be at the door taking their shoes off, and they'll say, look, so apparently it's this, and they might walk over to wherever okay, so it looks like it's probably going to cost this much. Everything okay if we go ahead? Yes, we go ahead. Okay, it's going to be payment upon completion before I walk out the door. That's fine. If you don't let them know what your process is, well, it's your fault that you haven't been paid on time.
How about we take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
To jump back, it's making a company grow and also making it past $1 million. You said that we have to be very efficient in all the operations, right? Like everyone has to carry their payment gateway with them immediately. It's all good to go, pay, and less time spent on sites, less time chit chat, but make customers happy, get out, right? Is there anything else beside that we can use to grow faster?
Yes.
What is that?
So a lot of people would actually talk about mindset, and we can talk about that when you want. The area that's more important than that, I believe, it's the big picture. So if you don't have a really clear big picture about your business, so I'm talking about why are you in business, what does it look like when it's finished? So when I say finished, I'm talking like 15, 20 years time. Now, finished doesn't mean you're done. It just means you've reached a massive milestone in your business. And then your mission for your customer. So what's your outcome for your client? So when you get really clear on those three things, because a lot of people say they have good days and bad days and so on. So you're going to have a lot more good days once you've actually got a really clear picture on actually where you're going to drive the business and take it to. There's a lot of businesses that might talk about a combined mission and purpose, or a combined vision and something else. And to me, that's not good because you're mixing them up.
Yeah.
So your purpose, it's something that comes from inside you, the business owner. It's something that you're going to have an impact on and something you're going to change. Now, it's not something that I call it silent marketing. So what I mean by this is that you need to think of something that you would like to have a positive impact on in the future, 10, 15, 20 years time. That could be something to do with the area that you live in. There could be the beaches around you. You want them to be cleaner, for example. It could be about people that live in your council area. You just want them all to get along. Doesn't matter what nationality they are. It could be that you want to look after lost dogs and lost cats. It could be something to do inside your industry. It could be anything, but you need to think of something that inside you, do you think that I've made an impact on that? And then once you get clear on that, when you go to hire another team member, you're going to look for people that actually align with what you care about. And that's going to actually help build a stronger team. Let's assume that you want to, and this is one of the things that I care about, is actually lost dogs and lost cats. Now, let's assume that that's something that you care about. And over time, you decide, as your business is growing, you've got more team. Once a quarter, you pay for the team for half a day to go to an animal shelter and help at the animal shelter. Could be clean out the cages or whatever. I can see you on the floor playing with the kittens and just not being productive at all, but you're having a good time.
Yeah.
But then one thing I don't like is when people say, let's do a team building day. It just doesn't sound right. But if you say, guys, next week, Wednesday afternoon, we're going to knock off at 12, we're going to the local animal shelter, we're going to help them however we can. You're going to get paid, and they go, cool, let's do that. Now, you're doing something you care about. Now, if you've hired people that care about a similar thing, they're going to be happy as well, and you're giving back to the community. As your business grows, you've got more people doing that. Then when somebody asks you for you to potentially do a project or a quote or something, and this comes up in conversation, sometimes they might say, can you tell me more about that? Or once a quarter we do this. Well, can we join in? Absolutely. So imagine in 7 years' time, you've got 60 people turning up to this animal shelter. The old lady that's 88 behind the counter is going to start crying with joy.
Yeah.
And you're happy, your team's happy, and so that's one thing, your purpose. So the next thing is your vision. Now your vision is actually, in the future, what does your business look like? So this is, to me, it comes down to how many team members have you got? And you could actually draw this on maybe an A3 bit of paper or get somebody to sketch it up. And to me, it's good to actually have this in your office somewhere. So you've got your team, you've got maybe where your office is. I can see you in a really nice office on a high-rise floor with some really nice expensive furniture.
Yeah.
And your team are happy and your clients are happy. So that looks at like the size of your business and actually what it physically looks like. Now, the hardest thing to work out is your mission. Now, the mission is the outcome that you will achieve for your client. So when I actually did research 23 years ago, we didn't have the ability to look online and do research and things as we can do now. It was only just starting to get known. So for me to actually find out how to put together my mission, I had to ask a lot of trades and a lot of builders. So if I would literally drive past a residential building site, I'd see someone, I'd stop and ask them, most of them were pretty good. And they would actually, why do you want to know this? And they would tell me. Some of them are like a bit weird. Only a small amount would say I'm too busy and I'm just maybe having a bad day. I ended up asking over 600 people. So, but the thing is, I would ask you, so imagine you're looking for a coach to help you with your trades business. I'd say, okay, so if I'm going to help you with your trades business, what's the ideal outcome you're after? And then I'll be quiet. You will say whatever you want to say, whether it's about having your office set up or understanding your financials or building your team, finding team. I'd say, okay, so tell me, what does that look like? And I'll be quiet, and then he'll say a bit more. So, all right, so I've got one more question. What do I have to do for me to be a raving fan when I've helped you? You go, oh, well, this and this and this. So I'd write this down every time on a bit of paper. And then I went and got a good creative copywriter to actually help me. And it came down to these people, and it's common now, it's like we came out with a mission statement worth, our mission is for you to be as good at business as you are at your trade. Nice. And to me, that's the mission statement. Now, if you think about, this is our purpose. Our purpose is to, I'll make some make up here. Our purpose is to actually do everything we can to make sure there's no cats and dogs on the street in Melbourne. Our vision looks like this, and our mission is this. So that's your big picture. So when you've got your big picture, to me, your stress levels should go because you've got clarity on where you're actually heading. Yes. A lot of people are stressed because, am I going in the right direction? Am I actually pedaling and not getting anywhere? Am I going in the wrong direction? But when you're clear on actually what the big picture is, and you can actually share that with your team, the team that are great are going to support you and actually help you get towards that. Because just say you've got a great second in charge, that person knows that you want to build a big business and you will get out of that role at some stage and they'll move into your role. Yeah. So they'll see, okay, well, that's the big picture. You're going to go over there, I could go there and I can earn more money.
It's like mindset for business.
Well, to me, it's about actually helping you get clarity, which will give you a better mindset. Because imagine if you've got a great mindset, I'm so positive, I'm great, but you don't have a big picture, where am I going?
In the journey that I have taken so far, for me, number one is mindset. Especially if you are someone in a leading position. It's really important because, you know, when things go wrong, everybody's looking at you. And if you're someone who's going to give up so soon, you're not going to make it far, right? I believe that for you to take company to new heights, you have to have that mindset, like you said, mission. You need to have a vision, and you have to know clearly where your company has to go there, right? What is a very good mindset for a business owner, for a tradie plus business owner who wants to, improve? Let's say they want to make $40 million a year in sales, and they want to have, a beautiful office on 47th floor of Melbourne Square, something like that. What is that mindset? Because you're doing a lot of coaching, right? And you sit with individuals. The moment they start talking, you have come across so many people, you know that this guy is a winner. This guy is not as much. What kind of mindset is the one that you're looking for to understand that this guy's going to make it?
So one of the things you said at the start was about actually giving up. And to me, a lot of people say, and you might watch a movie or you might read something or somebody might say, don't give up, don't give up. I actually don't like that. To me, it's about actually keep going, keep going. Because if you tell somebody, don't give up, don't give up, to me that's frustrating. Like, keep going is better. So that's the first thing. As far as what's the right mindset, it's somebody's got this big goal to turn over a certain amount of revenue and make a certain amount of money. The first thing I'd be looking for is making sure I've got the right team around me. So making sure you can't have the accountant that you had when you first started your paper round, or you first started carrying bricks when you were 14 years old. You've got to get a decent commercial accountant that has actually built businesses bigger than what you've got. So that's one of the key things. Depending on the actual niche that you're working in, there'll be other people that you might need on your team as well, like the right type of commercial lawyer to actually set up the right contracts. So you've got to make sure you set up the right business team around you. You've got the big picture, because your accountant needs to know the right one. Well, they need to know, where are you heading? Well, this is my big picture. Okay, that's big. So we need to map this out in stages, and then the lawyer will make sure you've got the right contracts in place. So, and the other thing also is, we all grow up with certain people, with friends, and some of them, well, they all choose a certain path, where they're just going to buy a house and have a couple of kids and a dog, and they're happy with that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And some people might not even have that. Some people might have bigger goals. You can still be friends with them, but just make sure you spend most of your time with people that are going on a similar journey. So you've mentioned before, like, there'll be people that will do their best to actually say that won't work, you won't get that type of thing. The more you can do to spend less time with them, the better. And you'll find that people that have done or achieved more than you financially will always encourage you to do better. It's the ones that are struggling or whatever, oh, you can't do that, that's not possible. So when you talk about mindset, to me, it's your mindset will improve because of the big picture. Your mindset will be improved because of the team that you have around you. And also, once a day, just take some time out. Just go for a walk away from everybody for 5 minutes. Like, still have your phone with you if you want, but just put it in your pocket. Don't consistently look at it. Just clear your head for 5 minutes and get rid of the 14 different voices inside your head.
Stay away from noise.
Sorry?
Stay away from noise.
Yes.
For a second. What's your take on a very difficult past? Is it a good thing for a very strong mindset?
To me, you need to decide whether you're going to have a strong mindset or not. I don't think it really matters if you've had a troubled past one way or another. I mean, nearly everybody you talk to will say something has gone wrong in their past.
Yeah.
It probably has. But you've just got to decide. That's the big picture. That's where I'm heading. If I've set people along the way, but I didn't do it intentionally, well, I was just me being me, that's fine. Just keep going.
I've had a very difficult past. And you know, when it comes to pushing hard, I believe that not so many people can get to that level of pushing hard, like 24/7. You call me 12 midnight, I'm picking up, I'm talking, I'm just doing sales. Most of my sales happen 9 p.m. So I hold on to the customer until they send deposit. 9 p.m. Yes.
How does that work?
So I show all of that. I try to close that deal by the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I just, try to be not very pushy, but indirectly doing sales. And, a lot of them seems to be available. Everybody's working 9 to 5, a lot of people, especially our customers. So they're more available in the evening. And I try to talk with them, see what the issue is, and try to get the sales around that time. And ironically, a lot of them happens. Like, so far today's 28th, and I've had around 130,000 plus sales only this month. This is the highest so far I have.
Yep.
And in the group that I'm receiving deposit, it's around 9 p.m. on average. So I don't think so many people are gonna push as hard as me. I'm not trying to pat myself in the back, because I'm willing to risk everything, because I know I cannot go as bad as I used to be when I was 14 years old carrying bags of sand. So when some people are talking about a lot of level of stress and depression and things, I'm not blaming them, but I've been through something, a dark side, that these problems do not exist in my world. For that, it's a curse and it's a gift. It's a curse because it keeps on haunting me, right? In the middle of the night I just get up and I remember all those stories, but it keeps on pushing me. It depends on how you use it. One of the things that I do is that I use that pain, and it's one of the infinite powers that you can tap into. I swear to my God, I can run that 100 kilometer with a bag without no training. Because there's a certain time, one of the things that I love in doing workout, once I'm past exhaustion, there's a moment that my brain shuts down. The pain is so much, and this is just beautiful. And I keep on pushing. And this is one of the things that I love so much. Then I see all of the stories, and in my mind, I'm just turning the pages of the chapters of my life. And I get to this point. It's not something a lot of people can do, but it seems like those people who can do, they're getting to a different level of success. For me, that's the mindset. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'll do it either dead or alive. What's your take on that? Am I on the extreme side?
If I relate this back to people in the trades and building industry, and you hear a lot of actually builders going bust, for right or wrong. Sometimes a supplier there's something gone wrong with a client or different things. Sometimes it's them not doing the best thing. And there's a lot more focus these days on mental health, which is a good thing. However, what I believe is that they're looking at things the wrong way around. So what I mean by that is that they're putting all this focus on what's happening at the end. They're not actually coming back right to the start. So that's the other reason with the app, is that when the app's got the ability to actually help people that are going into business learn everything they need to learn about business, it's very, very affordable. It's put together better than anything else I've seen, because there's a lot of people that will advertise on social media, download this spreadsheet, it'll help you with this. And then you got bombarded with like 40 emails a day and phone calls and sign up to this. The other thing was this, is you can download the app, choose what you want. If you want a month, have a month. If you don't, you don't. You're not going to get hassled with anything. So it's about actually helping the apprentices and the trades become a great business owner right at the start for a very small price. Because what do a lot of people stress about? They stress about money, or they can't find or know how to manage their team properly, or they don't have a lot of time. So there's an option there called the Better Weekly Structure that will help them with their time. There is a lot of things in there to help them with their financials, and there's a lot of things in there to help them with their team. There's a lot more other things, but those are if you look at the stats on what people are stressed about, I mean, in a relationship, it's we've run out of money, or I'm not home to actually see the kids, or I'm doing too much work myself because they haven't structured their week or their business the right way. So that to me is one of the solutions to actually help people with that earlier on. When you talk about you and the challenges that you've had, I mean, we've all had challenges. We've just got to work out what we can learn from them so that, fingers crossed, they're not going to happen again. And they can be health challenges or business challenges, but mostly they were there to actually teach us something. And we've just got, the important thing is to actually make sure that we learn from it.
The other question is, when you when there is certain, success that you achieve, a lot of people miss up after they succeed. Do you have a plan for those business owners?
A lot of people, what, sorry?
Let's say they want to make $1 million, right?
Yeah. So
And
are
then
they
they
making
make
or turning over?
After they're making $1 million,
Yep.
then they're gonna, just throw things around
Yeah.
and they're gonna lose their mind. The next day, they're not going to work as hard as they used to. So you have to prepare the mindset for that, because I'm a victim. It happened to me. After I made that $100,000,
Yep.
you celebrated in a yacht and a penthouse. You just spent $14,000. The next day, I wasn't the same person.
So
It took me some time to get back this mindset and keep on pushing.
I'll explain something about the reason why you're not getting what you want. And probably about 10 years ago, I had an ad on Triple M radio station to get trades to call up to actually book in to come and see me about the workshop they were running. So this tradie had left a message and I called him up. We had a quick chat and I said, all right, come in and see me, but before you come in, what's the one thing you would actually like to fix or improve in your business? What's the one thing you want? He said, cash flow. Cash flow's no good. So he came in to see me a couple of days later. He came in, sat in the office, asked how his day was, what's happening this week with your business. And I explained how the program works, and I gave him a bit of paper. And on the bit of paper, it had 3 rows and 2 columns. So the top of each was personal and business, and then it had 1, 2, and 3 underneath. And I said, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to write down what's important to you. I said, okay, all right. So under personal, he put his dog, his Maloo ute, and golf. And on the business side, he put down contracts, his tools of trade, and they put down his team. And I said, are you married? He said, yes. I said, so things aren't going well with your wife and you haven't got any money in your bank. The bloke nearly hit me. What are you talking about? I thought I was coming in here for you to help me with my business, not some psychology session. I said, well, you've got a family, and what, you've got how many kids? 2. Okay, they're not on here either. Is your dog outside in the ute, in the front seat? Yes. Is there a bowl of water on the floor in the front seat? He said, yes. I just guessed. He said, how do you know? I said, if I went outside, would your ute be shiny clean? Absolutely. You're not very good at golf, but you love being there. Yes. Okay. So, would you like me to explain to you why your cash flow is no good? He said, absolutely, that's why I'm here. I said, because it's not important to you. He said, yes, it is. I said, no, it's not. Think of it this way. I said, do you have any friends which are overweight? He said, yeah, I've got heaps of them. Have any of them ever said on Sunday that I'm going to eat salad, I'm going to go to the gym? He said, yeah, a couple of times. And what happens by Friday? They're watching football, eating pizza? He said, yes. I said, it's the same thing. You want cash flow, but what you value is the contracts, your work tools, and so on. And personally, your dog's your best friend, your ute is tidy and clean, and you spend more time on the golf course complaining about things that are at home. So it really comes down to, you can earn a lot of money, but if you don't value it, it's going to go.
Wow, spot on. That's so true. That's amazing. So it's based on where you focus on, right?
It's not so much what you focus on, because you can focus on something for a short time and then it goes. So it's what you value. You value looking nice. So you look nice.
Thank you.
You dress well. And that's good. That's important to you, yes?
Yeah.
So that's consistently important to you.
Well, I have a lot to think about now. Yeah, it's crazy. What is your legacy? You have written 3 of the most valuable books about tradies and helping them be more successful. And I saw your message in the group. You said the first one wasn't good, the second one. What makes it more? What have you learned from those other 2 books that you put in the GOAT?
Look,
trading?
when you talk about legacy, I've started using ChatGPT better in the last couple of months. And I actually typed in there a couple of weeks ago, I said, who was the first trades business coach in Australia? And it came up with me.
Cool.
Which I thought was, it was funny, but it actually said, it actually spoke about me leaving a legacy. And that's not something I put in there. It's not like you can have reviews on Google and you know what's there. You're not sure what's going to come up with ChatGPT, but that actually came up, which is pretty good. So when you talk about legacy, to me, it's about a world where anybody in the trades and building industry can actually access education at an affordable price. And that's obviously why I'm building the app. And it's affordable, it's easy to use, and that is going to help them be a better apprentice, a better qualified, a better business owner, a better big business owner. And they'll actually wake up knowing that I am not going to make the mistakes that the other generation made, because the business tools or so on were so expensive. And that's, to me, a lot of people talk about a legacy as what they're going to leave behind, but to me it's something that you need to start doing now. You don't want to leave it behind. You want to make sure that it's set up now for people to start using it. So I've dedicated about 30 years to doing this, and it wasn't my intention right at the start. It's just something that's happened, which is good. And every 3 months, myself and the team, we're building more apps inside the app. Like within 12 months' time, there's going to be at about 120 features inside there. And it's just going to get more, put in better categories, like more for apprentices, more for qualifieds, and so on. So the legacy is about actually making sure that there's something there that anybody can use at any stage, that's very affordable. And to me, it really comes down to this, that the people that are using it, it's not just about them being successful, but are they happy? That's it.
Beautiful, very beautiful. Guys, please get the book. If you are in construction or not, this is going to change your life. I'm going to go through all and every one of them. And like Maya said, there's going to be book inside the book. There's a lot of QR code, a lot of videos, right?
Well, yeah, there's each chapter has got a QR code which actually will take them to a library of resources. And there's some people that might watch this might know that there's a chapter in there written by the Melbourne Chippy Chick. And she's got about 160,000 followers on social media. There's a chapter in there written by Radmila Desic, who's in Queensland, and she's had a big impact on women in the construction industry in Australia. There's a gentleman in there that used to be the business manager of Queensland TAFE in there. There's the founder of Fergus job management software, so there's a chapter in there about him. There's also a chapter in there about the big picture. There's an accountant which actually has taken a lot of trades businesses from going okay to not having to have the business owner be there every day. He's written a chapter. there's 12 different chapters in there, but there's actually, as I said to you earlier, there's a story inside the story inside the story. So what I mean by that is when people read it, there's some red characters like A, B, L, whatever, and it actually, when you follow those inside the book, there's another message inside the book.
Okay.
That's why it took a couple of years to make.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Only that the most important thing we have is time.
Yes.
So the thing that I said before about that tradie coming in and the dog was important to him and so on, to me it should look like this. So on the personal side, what do you believe should be the first thing on the personal side that's the most important thing? What do you believe?
For me, is number one is mindset, which I have 3 rules, like very, very big rules. I broke one. Number one is God. What I believe, God, and this is the love circle, God, family, and friends. Number 2 is no smoking, no drinking. So, but then I started smoking. I did my cigar, and that was after I succeeded. That was a celebration to smoke. But for me, number one is mindset. And it's so important to have such a kind of mindset that if you lose anything, everything, the next day you're going to be strong again.
So to me, the first thing on the personal side is you.
Yourself.
The second thing, if you have a partner, it's your partner. If you don't have a partner, it could be a family member or someone. And if they have children, the children would come next. It's not about having them last. A lot of people say they put their partner and their children first, and you can't do that because if you're not looking after your health, you can't look after anybody else. So it's you, your partner, and either a child or it could be a dog or a cat, for example. On the business side, the first thing, time. Because we've only got a limited amount of time. The second thing, you were close, it's deliver massive value. So to deliver massive value to your client, the third thing is F-U-N, fun.
Yeah.
So to make sure that you have fun in your business. So up the top, you've got you on the personal side, time on the business side.
Yeah.
Then you've got your partner.
Yes.
Then you've got your clients that deliver massive value. Then you've got fun down here, and then you've got either your children or your pets down here.
Very, very well structured. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Your time is so valuable. Is there anything I can do for you?
Nothing at all.
With Aussie Production, we can create some content. Are you open if we make some content about your book and your message?
You're the boss.
Okay, we're gonna make a very nice promotional video, and it's gonna be you explaining the valuable lessons, and after that it's gonna be edited and given to you, so you can use it for promotion.
All right, that'd be awesome.
Thank you so much for your time, and love it. Thank you, guys.